quick introductions. So William, can you introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about your role within Apartment List?
Sure. I'm William McNamara. I'm the Salesforce manager here at Apartment List. I've been for about 4 years, sole admin. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Kind of keeping all the cogs and gears running here at Apartment List when it comes to Salesforce.
Yep, that's right.
Awesome. Let's see. And then how long has Apartment List been using Salesforce?
Our instance is about 8 years old. We have 150 users, and we're using Sales Cloud and Service Cloud, and then a few connected applications for enablement like Sales Loft, Outreach, Qualtrics, those kinds of tools.
Fantastic. Okay. Now, when you initially engaged with us, what were some of the challenges you guys were facing? What were some of the things that really, were pain points and were kind of slowing the business down?
Yeah, so we have our internal, flow automation, workflows, configuration. That stuff is mostly covered. But we reached a point in our business where we're starting to need that extra level of development, including, sometimes using Apex code or integrations with custom applications, stuff that is outside of the wheelhouse of a standard advanced admin, and needing that development support from a team with experience there.
Fantastic. Yeah, we see that quite a lot across the board. Is that companies will have their primary admin, really their guru who runs the whole system, just like you do. Some days I don't know how you do it with how much you've got on your plate. Just running, and having all these cases come in the backlog. And then a lot of companies will engage with us to have the developer expertise, the architecture expertise, to really take the Salesforce environment and enhance and development while you continue to maintain and kind of call the shots of where data is going, where things are moving, understanding the business, and so forth. So obviously that'd be a great model with a lot of folks. Can you share some specific ways in which we were able to help improve your Salesforce experience? Maybe some of the projects that we worked on.
Yeah, I think the first things that come to mind, the reason why is connected integrations with connected systems. So we have a lot of systems that our engineering team built to manage the back end of our database, and that those systems were not talking to Salesforce previous to our engagement, and the process for reconciling those databases was very manual and very time intensive. CloudROI was able to set up some integrations between Salesforce and those systems, which follow some very complicated logic. It was definitely not an easy thing to set up. Shashank, with support from I think some other members of the team, were able to get it built out and tested and working really well. It's funny because we, in the course of normal management, we would find these issues, and it was never with anything that was built by CloudROI. It was just our data. Shashank definitely builds things to spec.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's we find that quite a lot happens to come in and take a look and see what can we help with, what can we what expertise can we provide from that architecture level to make sure the system stays aligned to best practices here.
Yeah.
Great. So and so I think you kind of touched on the next question here. But can you describe maybe some of the positive results or benefits that you've seen from the work that we've done? So it sounds like the integration was a big part. Maybe some of the business aspects that are impacted by that.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, I think when we were initially having these conversations about starting these engagements, you brought up the value prop of having a large network of people to rely on, and I think that is something good about CloudROI, is that any Salesforce project might need to involve multiple people. You might need an architect to think about design and how best to build something. You might need a developer to do it, admins just to handle day-to-day stuff. And so I think the value of going through CloudROI is having that network of people to rely on like an architect like yourself or a dev like Shashank, um, rather than going with a single person who, you're limited to the amount of experience that they have. There were a number of other people who we were considering who were just admins, and if we'd needed them to do any of this more advanced dev stuff, they probably wouldn't have been able to do it. So it's nice to have a network of people you can rely on for different skill sets.
Definitely. Fantastic. Thank you. Yeah. So then let's talk about maybe the support experience. So can you share any sort of memorable instances where the team went above and beyond, what you had originally expected from them?
Yeah. Yeah. So, bringing up Shashank again, he dove into a very complicated project. I came into a sync, and I was actually unaware that he had been working on this project up until this point, that he'd been talking to one of our managers about how to make their processes easier. And he had already built out all this whole design solution for syncing this data on very, very, very complex automations, very complex objects. And he built it all out, and I was kind of stunned that he was able to do that without asking me a single question about, he didn't have any documentation. He didn't have any explanations about how this is all laid out. He just figured it out and built this automation himself, which was one of the more impressive things that I've seen, that he was able to just figure it all out, and demonstrates a depth of Salesforce knowledge and experience that I think is very hard to find even among senior admins.
Fantastic. Yeah, awesome. And then in terms of communication and responsiveness to your inquiries, because I know in a lot of support instances, it can be we need immediate responses. We need someone who can help out. If something goes down, it can stop the business. So how was your experience with CloudROI when it came to communication and responsiveness?
Yeah, I mean, I think my experience with CloudROI was on par in that sense. I think there was always timely responses and sticking to committed timelines. I can't imagine any times where I felt delayed or like I wasn't getting adequate service there.
Fantastic. And then in terms of a long-term relationship, would you consider recommending our services to other businesses who are looking for Salesforce support?
Absolutely. I think it's a really nice operation here that, aside from being able to access, a lot of different levels of Salesforce resourcing with, good timing, and a large breadth of experience, I think that you guys are also pretty reasonably priced from what I've seen in the industry.
Your experience with CloudROI and the Salesforce support services?
No, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of really, really smart people on staff. I would have loved to keep you guys on. We've got to reallocate our budget towards full-time heads, because CloudROI helped us prove out the value of having an extra Salesforce resources here. So unfortunately, you worked yourselves out of a job. But you guys are great. And if I could have continued the engagement or poached any of you, I definitely would have tried.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you. That's high praise. And as to be honest, it's sometimes a bittersweet part of the job here at CloudROI is we really do try to drive the value out of Salesforce. And we definitely understand that once companies see that and they start to, say, okay, now that we've got this much value and this much of our business running out of Salesforce, we need more in-house people. And so we're happy to help with those transitions, and make sure, people are getting allocated where they need to be. So fantastic. Well, William, thank you so much for meeting with me here today and just going through your experience. Like I said, it's been really great working with you and the team, and we look forward to any future endeavors that we have together.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. We'll stay in touch.